If you're going to bitch about gerrymandering of congressional districts, then bitch about all gerrymandering in congressional districts. I have plenty of content across multiple platforms bitching out Democrats for gerrymandering states like the one I live in Illinois. The Democrats have gerrymandered the fuck out of this state. I live 45 to 50 minutes from the Chicago border, maybe an hour, hour and 10 to the actual lakefront, Lakeshore Drive. And I am now in the same congressional district as people on Lakeshore Drive. And there are millions of people between us. Because what the Democrats did is they took the city of Chicago and the suburbs where things begin to get a little bit more conservative as the farther out you go. And they drew these districts coming from the lakefront and going out and capturing. So it's capturing millions of blue people and then capturing a little bit of the red, and millions of blue people and a little bit of the red, and millions of blue people and a little bit of the red. And what they did was they took all of the red people, or the areas that would be more red, on the far outskirts, just outside the Chicagoland area, and they put a little chunk of each one of them into another blue district so that they got disenfranchised. That's what the Democrats did. And the Republicans did the same thing in Texas. The difference is the Republicans are the only ones trying to do it again halfway between the censuses. We draw the lines for these congressional districts every 10 years when we get the decade census. We did one in 2020. We're going to do one in 2030. But the Republicans want to do another one in 2025 in the middle. Because Donald Trump told them, you need to go get me 5 more seats. Because right now the Republicans only have a couple of seat majority in the House. And they're most likely going to lose control of the House in the midterm. So they're looking to pad anywhere they can. So Donald Trump is telling them, go find me 5 more seats. Redistrict your state halfway through. The Constitution says that, or the rules say that you have to count the people, the census, every 10 years. But that doesn't mean that we can't do it every 5 years in between. So go find me 5 more seats. And that's what the Republicans in Texas are doing. So in response to that, Gavin Newsom says, then we're going to do that. And so people then point out how gerrymandered this state is or gerrymandered that state is, like this gentleman.
Donald Trump received 40% of the vote in California, yet California only has 9 Republican seats out of its 52. So they've already created a map that vastly and disproportionately hurts Republicans. And now what Gavin Newsom is proposing as some sort of move to save democracy is to even further disenfranchise Republican voters. And that's why he caught flack from Arnold Schwarzenegger, who created the Independent Redistricting Committee. And here's Gavin Newsom responding to the governor by saying, no. I totally believe in the idea of an independent redistricting committee. In fact, so much I believe it should be federal law that every state should have one. But also, screw the independent redistricting committee. I mean, this guy's a joke. Watch.
We're not here to eliminate the commission. We're here to provide a pathway in 26, 28, and in 2030 for congressional maps on the basis of a response to the rigging of the system by the President of the United States. And it won't just happen in Texas. I imagine he's making similar calls all across this country. It's a big deal. I don't think it gets much bigger. And we're going to respond in a transparent way, an honest way, but it's in response. But I'm not going to sit back any longer in a position, the fetal position, in a position of weakness, when in fact California could demonstrably advance strength.
You have it. He just admits it. It's not about principles. It's about winning. And the reason why this is such a losing move for Gavin Newsom is because what Texas is doing is perfectly legal.
Well, you didn't listen to a goddamn thing out of that video, did you? Nor out of your own fucking mouth. First of all, California, along with New York, is one of a handful of states that actually has independent committees to redistrict, like you were talking about. Arnold Schwarzenegger set it up over there. And then you want to bitch about how the maps are drawn. They're drawn by an independent commission, not by the party that wins control of the state house. Like in Illinois and in Texas, where the Democrats gerrymander the shit out of Illinois and Republicans gerrymander the shit out of Texas. California is one of those states that has that commission. So you want him Gavin Newsom to abide by the rules of the commission, while Texas says, fuck you, I'm going to go ahead and redistrict halfway through the decade because it's perfectly legal. Well, guess what, boo? If it's legal for Texas to do it, then it's legal for California to do it. And why should California sit back and follow the rules of an independent commission if Texas is going to go, fuck you, we're going to create seats to gain an advantage? This is, like he said in that clip you played, in response to. Not because Gavin Newsom wants to redistrict California, it's because we can't sit back and let the Republicans redistrict Texas, possibly Ohio, possibly Florida, who knows what other states, in order to gain more seats. See, you want us to abide by rules while you guys manufacture seats. Fuck you, it doesn't work that way. You find 5, we find 10. You find 10, we find 20. We have more fucking people. Our states have more people. This is going to be a losing battle for you, because the way Gavin Newsom has it set up is we're going to do this in response to what Texas is doing. And then, once we get back to normalcy in our politics, the independent commission goes back to drawing the maps. Gavin Newsom is actually calling for a federal law that prevents what he, Abbott, Pritzker, and anybody else, DeSantis, would attempt to do, which is just redraw whenever the fuck they feel like it. Find more seats. You don't get to play this game that you're playing and then say we don't get to respond. Fuck you. You're getting a response. By the way, you want to talk about what percentage of the vote Donald Trump got and how many seats Republicans have and how many seats Democrats have in the state of California? Why don't you discuss the state of Texas? You know, that incredibly gerrymandered state that Republicans control. Here are the party registration statistics for the state of Texas. Of the 17,323,617 registered voters in the state of Texas, 46.5% are Democrat, 37.95% are Republican. There are more registered Democrats than Republicans. Nobody's registered as third party or other, but then there are almost 7 million unaffiliated, which makes up another 15.55%. There are more registered Democrats than there are Republicans in the state of Texas. Now go back to ye old Google machine and look up how many Democratic seats are in Texas versus Republican seats. Didn't hear you mention that one.